Okay, we are 4 lines from the top of page 94, chapter 27, Shaar HaEmunah, and we're just talking about what Shaar Pirkei Hatzelem is able to do in connecting the Nefesh Elokis to the Nefesh Hativius. And when it takes the light from the Nefesh Elokis and brings it to Nefesh Hativius, it doesn't just connect it in a general sense, but it takes it down and it connects it to every minute detail. Meprat Hashef Eloki, in every minute detail. Baratzon, and to the Ratzon and Nefesh Hativius. Seichel, and the intellectual attributes of Nefesh Hativius. Omidos, and the emotions, Vagam, Maseh, and Mitzvah, and even down to the specific part where it's affecting the Maseh and Mitzvah. As it says, even the Maseh and Mitzvah has to be done, ideally should be done with a kavanah that it should ultimately be done for Hashem. As I'm going to go outside of the text here for a moment, with the coin of fire, that when the Yiddish people there in the desert had to atone for the sin of the golden calf, they only had to give a half shekel for the building of the Mishkan, and Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't really understand what was the idea of this half shekel. So what Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu a bit of a secret, and he showed him a golden coin of fire from underneath his throne of glory. I guess he kind of flicked it over to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was like, "Oh, I get it now." So what's the idea? That when you do a mitzvah, it should be done with all your heart, all your soul. Because when it's done with all your heart, then your heart, which has a fire for Hashem, then your Maseh and mitzvah can be done and affected in the right way. As it says, love and fear is like the wings to the mitzvah. And the Pirkei Hatzelem is able to take that light from the Nefesh Elokis and is able to draw it down to the Nefesh Hativius, and it's able ultimately that the Nefesh Hativius and all its powers and all its koiches should be elevated for God above. But poel mamish, in actuality, teshuva poel mamish, and teshuva, return, going back to your source, in actuality, kai gavnin, similarly, vehein hatzerichim birur valiyah shehem yachalu lo'olos ba'olos haneshama v'yacholim lahamshich kol ora eloki shebeneshama baguf. And ultimately, what should happen is that there should be a rectification and an ascension above, and it's in order that the Nefesh Elokis should go up to such a level that when it keeps going up and up, it's able then to bring down the godly light to the neshama that's in the body. So obviously, when the Nefesh Hativius experiences an aliyah down here and it goes up, then clearly then the Nefesh Elokis itself is able to go up, and when it goes up and up and up, it reaches to a certain level of divine light, and it's able to bring it down to Nefesh Hativius. The Nefesh Hativius then takes that light, and then ultimately it doesn't just receive it, but it's ultimately meant to use it and utilize it for Torah and mitzvahs. Kamoi ha'oineg v'simcha eloki. Just like to such a degree where the guf itself will experience a divine pleasure and happiness and godliness. Shiabo l'guf, and it should happen and experience within the body, so that his heart itself experiences happiness, and his brain gets an aliyah, meaning that it shouldn't get full of hot air, and that the mitzvahs you do aren't meant to say, "Hey, look how cool I am! I'm doing mitzvahs. Look at me, woo woo!" And then your head gets so big, and you take a pinprick and psh, and everything pops. But no, the idea is that when your brain wraps itself around Torah mitzvahs rather than the junk in this world, like Aerosmith, Rolling Stones, or I don't know, any kind of just the Avengers and all the stuff that's out there, the brain automatically experiences aliyah because it's receiving divine light when it's learning Torah, and God willing, spreading it out through the worlds. And same thing too when the mensch does teshuvah and he goes back and does good deeds for Hashem, and ultimately so that the world can improve and bring Hashem down here. Okay. V'chol shaloi, and anyone who is not refined, birur lepirkei hatzelem, the Nefesh Hativius shenikra mazla, and anyone who is not brought about a refinement of the to such a degree that the Pirkei Hatzelem can go then to the Nefesh Hativius, and the Pirkei Hatzelem is called the Mazla, the Mazel, Hamamutza. What happens if he doesn't do that? Lo yavo kala orad haneshama baguf. Then the neshama, the the Nefesh Elokis won't bring light to the body. Labor v'yasher bloy brir. Yes, and we are going to stop there for now.